You got to insist on learning from your mistakes. People who try to avoid failure never learn and end up repeating the same mistakes over and over again. But those who are willing to learn from their failures never have to repeat them again. And know this, we don't learn as much from success. We don't. You will learn a lot more from your failures. My topic is this: your biggest mistake, your biggest mistake is not asking what mistake you're making. Your biggest mistake is not asking what mistake you're making. When you're young and motivated, you think you can lead better than most of the people who have led others before you. Well, at least this was my thinking when I first got into leadership. Guys, I was confident, I was positive, I was aggressive, I was optimistic, and I was naive. I was definitely naive. And, I often led by my youthfulness. I didn't look for problems. I didn't look for problems because I didn't expect to have any. And here's what the result was. Over time, I was blindsided several times in my career. And when this happened, the outcome was I was always left wondering, how could this happen? Every time. So after getting blindsided several times, I ended up going in desperation mode. And that's when I started asking questions. I started asking questions from experienced leaders for help. I put my ego to the side and I started asking for help. And one of my mentors, his name is Marcus Smith, he told me something that changed my leadership. He said, James, the biggest mistake you can make is not asking what mistakes you're making. I remember it to this day. And after this, I started to examine myself to make the changes needed to grow my organization. And here is what I know. Everyone makes mistakes. And in my business, in my organization, we called it failing forward. I used to encourage my people to fail forward. You're going to go through some failure. Let's just fail forward. And when it comes to success, it's not the number of times you make mistakes. It's about learning to fail forward. And if you want to avoid the recipe for successful failure, do this. I got some things I want to share with you guys. 5 things. So number 1, admit your own mistakes and weaknesses. Admit your own mistakes and weaknesses. A wise man knows your people already know your weaknesses. It's when you admit your weaknesses, then that's when they start to look at each other and say, he knows too. Now listen, we don't have to keep pretending. We don't. We can be real. You can't improve as a leader if you're too busy trying to pretend you're perfect. You can't. So it's always wise to just admit your failures, and admitting your failures and taking responsibility for them will allow you to go to the next level. That's the first one. The second one, accept mistakes as the price of progress. The person who's interested in success has to learn to view failure as a healthy, inevitable part of the process of getting to the top. Nothing in this life is perfect, guys. And it's not one thing that's perfect. When I played football, even when we won, and I was a part of a lot of record-winning teams at college, in college at Mount Union, the University of Mount Union now. From 1994 to 2005, we won 110 NCAA regular season games in a row. And we still hold, check this out, we still hold the most consecutive victories with the record of 55 games. And that's amongst all divisions. So, sometimes they'll just show Division I records. When you look at the actual record in NCAA, I was part of 2 of those teams. And, the cool thing about this, when I think back my time when I played football there, we always took time to review our mistakes after every game, whether it was a win or a loss. Do you think we spent more time reviewing our mistakes when we won or lost? And when I think back, it's crazy. We actually spent more time reviewing our mistakes when we won. It never at the time I wanted to punch one of my coaches, man, because he would just go through something like over and over and over again. But looking back, it was a very important thing that he was teaching us. about you got to own your mistakes, whether you win or lose. And those lessons help me, take that same practice in the business. And I try to treat it the same way. So for example, even when you and your people are having success, you can always look at your presentation and find something that you can get better at. Everybody, I learned to fail fast, learn from my mistakes and move on. And if you want to reach your potential as a leader, you got to expect to fail and you're going to make mistakes. That's number two. Number three, you got to insist on learning from your mistakes. Insist on learning from your mistakes. People who try to avoid failure never learn and end up repeating the same mistakes over and over again. But those who are willing to learn from their failures never have to repeat them again. And know this, we don't learn as much from success. We don't. You will learn a lot more from your failures. Winning don't really teach you that much. It's just part of the resume. So that's number three. Number four, ask yourself and others, what are we missing? Ask yourself that first, and then others. What are we missing? It's easy to make decisions based on what we know, but there are always things we don't know. And the value of asking, what are we missing is that it causes everyone to stop and think. And if you're not asking this question, it assumes that everything is perfect and there are no problems. And we all know that's not reality. At the end of the day, it's not reality. So ask yourself and others, what are we missing? Number five, give people permission to push back. Give people permission to push back. It takes a secure person to get to this point. When you have many good minds working together, it's always better than one mind. Don't be the leader who just want followers who turn a blind eye instead of ones who speak with a blunt tongue. That's one thing I appreciate about the leadership I had in my journey is they embrace, that. So it's easier for me to incorporate that into how I operated. They wanted people. They didn't want people with just, closed mouths and stuff like that. And I was a fortunate individual. That's how I was raised. My mom said, man, closed mouths don't get fed. Don't be biting your tongue. We don't have to go around and harm people with the use of the tongue, but a blunt tongue can be very helpful in the process of the journey of people working together. So you want to cultivate a culture where it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to ask hard questions. Remember, listen, if everybody is quiet when decisions are being considered, it probably won't be quiet after it plays out. Think about that. If everybody is quiet when decisions are being considered, it probably won't be quiet after it all plays out. So I want to give you guys a reflection exercise based on these topics. What is your attitude towards mistakes? What is your attitude? Whatever that is, think about it. What's my attitude towards mistakes? Do you own up to your mistakes? Do you get ideas and opinions from your team? Do you intentionally get ideas and opinions from your team? And I'm everything I share with you guys is firsthand experience of things I learned, of things I was not doing and things I needed to start doing. And when I started to do those things, it made an impact in my business. So this is not some like just me giving you this and like no, I had to learn this stuff the hard way, and I want to encourage you guys to try to operate in a way where you are able to know that your biggest mistake is not asking what mistake you're making. Okay. That's my topic for today.